The ocean is a realm of secrets, dark, unexplored, and filled with terrifying surprises. But what if I told you that an underwater drone captured something so shocking, so unsettling, that it sent shockwaves through the scientific community? From deadly underwater pools to lost cities frozen in time, here are the 15 most chilling underwater drone discoveries ever made. Number 15. Rare whale grave. Few places on Earth are as unforgiving as the Antarctic Ocean. But what hidden discoveries are waiting beneath its surface? Freezing waters, complete darkness, and pressures so intense they could crush a submarine. Few living things survive here, and even fewer dare to explore its depths. But when an underwater drone was sent into these waters, it picked up something so disturbing, so unexpected, that it sent chills through the entire research team. What exactly did they find resting in the darkness? At first, it was just another scan of the seafloor. The drone's lights cutting through the black abyss revealed nothing but cold, barren terrain. But then, something enormous came into view, a skeleton resting eerily on the ocean floor. The sight alone was enough to send a wave of unease through the team. What kind of creature had left these remains behind? The size was too large for an ordinary sea creature. This was something far more massive. As the drone moved in closer, the details became clearer. It was the skeleton of an Antarctic minke whale. Its skull alone stretched over 6 feet, a haunting reminder of a creature that once ruled these waters. The rest of its skeletal frame sprawled across the ocean floor, its ribs like massive decaying pillars frozen in time. But how did it end up here? This wasn't just another carcass drifting through the currents. It had settled in one of the most remote and isolated whale graveyards ever recorded. But whales don't normally die in places like this. Was this the result of natural causes, or was something far more sinister at play? Could something lurking in the abyss have caused its fate? As eerie as the skeleton itself was, what surrounded it was even more unsettling. The whale's lifeless body had become an entire ecosystem of deep-sea scavengers, creatures that few have ever seen. Sea fleas, bristleworms, and strange bone-eating organisms had claimed the remains, slowly picking apart the flesh in a grotesque but natural process. But how long had this eerie transformation been taking place? Scientists call this a whale fall. When a whale's body sinks to the ocean floor, it creates a temporary oasis of life, feeding scavengers and deep-sea organisms for years. In the darkness of the Antarctic depths, where food is scarce, a decaying whale can sustain an entire world. Number 14. Missing submarines. How does a nuclear submarine simply vanish, leaving behind only silence? What could cause a vessel built for war, designed to withstand the crushing depths, to become nothing more than twisted wreckage on the ocean floor? The USS Scorpion was returning to Norfolk, Virginia, in 1968 when all contact was lost. 99 men were on board. Then, nothing. No distress calls, no warnings, just an empty void where a submarine once was. What happened in those final moments? Did the crew realize they were doomed, or was it over in an instant? For months, the ocean revealed nothing. Then, when the wreckage was finally located miles beneath the surface, what was found sent chills through those who saw it. The submarine was shattered, its hull broken apart, its metal frame twisted as if crushed by an unseen force. Something had violently ripped it apart. But what? Some experts pointed to a torpedo malfunction, an explosion from within. Others whispered of darker possibilities. Foreign interference, a classified mission gone terribly wrong, or something else entirely. But no one could say for sure. No clear cause, no solid answers, just wreckage, loss, and mystery. The most unsettling part? The truth remains locked in the abyss, hidden among the ruins. The USS Scorpion now rests as a ghost ship beneath the waves, its crew forever lost, its fate still unknown. And if a war machine like this can vanish without a trace, what else lies waiting in the depths, watching undisturbed, waiting to be found? Number 13. Spooky sounds. Far below the surface of the Pacific, in a place where few have ventured, strange noises have emerged. What could be lurking in the darkness? For years, researchers have been puzzled by these eerie noises recorded near the Mariana Trench, the deepest known place on Earth. What could be making these unexplainable sounds from the ocean's most unexplored depths? Back in 2014, underwater recording devices picked up something chilling. A low, rumbling grumble followed by an almost haunting high-pitched tone. Scientists had their suspicions. Some believed it might be coming from a deep-sea creature, but no known marine animal had ever produced a sound like this. The mystery grew, and with no solid answers, it remained unsolved for years. Determined to uncover the truth, researchers from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration turned to artificial intelligence. They fed AI over 200,000 hours of ocean recordings, analyzing patterns that the human ear could never detect. The results? Something no one expected. The culprit behind the eerie sound wasn't a mythical sea monster or an undiscovered creature. It was bride's whales. These whales, known for their fast-paced, restless nature, roam warm tropical waters, always on the move. Scientists now believe the sounds are a form of communication, helping them navigate and locate one another in the vast ocean. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. The Mariana Trench itself remains one of Earth's greatest mysteries, stretching nearly 11 kilometers deep, so deep that Mount Everest could fit inside. Only 4 people have ever made it to the bottom. In 2019, American explorer Victor Vescovo set a record, spending 4 hours at the ocean's most extreme depths. What he saw down there is still largely unknown. Number 12. Sea robin. Is there a creature that crawls instead of swims, using strange limb-like extensions to feel its way through the darkness? At first, it looked like an ordinary fish until it started crawling. Scientists were left stunned by the discovery of a creature that doesn't just swim but walks, feeling its way through the darkness with limb-like extensions covered in taste receptors. This was the sea robin, a fish unlike any other. Its elongated appendages stretch from its body like fingers, scraping against the seafloor, tasting the environment as it moves. It doesn't rely on sight to hunt. Instead, it searches blindly, detecting prey buried beneath the sand. And when it finds something, it digs in and devours it. But why does it hunt like this? What made it evolve this unsettling, creeping method of survival? The unsettling footage revealed another peculiar sight, other fish trailing behind it, waiting for it to uncover hidden prey. Were they following instinct, or is there something else drawing them in? A predator that moves methodically, never rushing, just creeping forward, feeling for something trapped below. Even more unsettling, not all sea robins have this ability. Nearly identical species lack these sensory legs altogether. So why did only some develop this disturbing way of hunting? A specific adaptation led them to develop this slow, creeping method of finding prey, shaping their survival instincts over time. The ocean keeps unveiling creatures that challenge what we know, and this one is no exception. Its discovery leaves us wondering what else might be prowling unseen. Number 11. Shipwrecks. A baffling structure has been found beneath Grand Traverse Bay. But how did it get there? It's unlike anything researchers expected to find in these waters. For years, people have talked about the shipwrecks buried down there, old vessels lost to time, resting silently below the surface. That alone is eerie enough. But now, something much older, much more mysterious, has been found, and it's got experts questioning everything they thought they knew. So here's the big question. What was discovered down there that has researchers so shaken? Dr. Mark Hawley, an underwater archaeology professor, was conducting what should have been a routine survey of the bay, just another scan of the lake bed, looking for the usual sunken boats, debris, the normal stuff you'd expect to find underwater. But then, something appeared on the sonar that stopped them in their tracks. A formation of massive stones stretching out in a deliberate, almost unnatural pattern, sitting 40 feet beneath the surface. At first, they thought maybe it was just a natural rock bed. But the more they studied it, the more it became clear this wasn't random. These stones were placed on purpose. Now think about that for a second. Who would have been moving giant stones into perfect formation beneath this bay? This formation stretches over a mile, with stones varying in size. Some are no bigger than a basketball, while others are the size of compact cars. But here's the part that's really got people talking. One stone stands out from the rest, one that might just hold the key to this whole mystery. This stone isn't just big, it's carved. And not just with random scratches or erosion marks. No, this thing has an actual image on it. A mastodon, an animal that went extinct over 10,000 years ago. That means whoever put this here was around when these creatures still roamed North America. Who were these people? Because this discovery, it changes everything. Up until now, history has told us that humans weren't building complex structures in North America at that time. But if this formation is real, if it was intentionally placed by people who lived alongside mastodons, then we've been missing a huge piece of the puzzle. Number 10. Pavlopetri. Resting silently beneath the Mediterranean, a lost city has come to light. But what caused it to sink beneath the waves? Its structures stand as if frozen in time. An underwater drone scanning the ocean floor sent back footage that left experts speechless. What it captured wasn't just an archaeological find. It was a chilling reminder of how entire civilizations can vanish without a trace. This ancient city, known as Pavlopetri, was once a thriving Greek settlement, filled with homes, streets, and bustling marketplaces. But then, without warning, it was gone, swallowed by the ocean, hidden from history, lost for thousands of years. Researchers have marveled at the level of preservation, with some buildings still showing intricate stonework and pottery fragments lying exactly where they were left. The city's layout, including its roads and courtyards, offers a rare glimpse into the daily lives of its inhabitants. Evidence suggests that the city was a hub for trade, with artifacts from distant regions hinting at its connections to other ancient civilizations. Marine archaeologists have also uncovered abilities and household items, providing clues about the technology and culture of the time. The discovery has sparked debates about how many other ancient cities might still be hidden beneath the sea, waiting to be found. No records, no survivors, just silence. When researchers finally uncovered it, the site was haunting. Buildings still standing, roads untouched, and artifacts scattered as if the city had been abandoned overnight. It wasn't destroyed by war, nor was it lost to time. It was dragged into the depths by a force so powerful that it erased everything in an instant. Scientists believe a massive earthquake shook the land, causing the ground beneath the city to collapse. The sea rushed in, burying an entire civilization so completely that no one even knew it existed. Now it's time for today's topic. A marine research team exploring the dark depths of the North Sea sent an advanced underwater drone into the abyss. At 1,200 meters deep, the drone's sonar detected a massive moving object, larger than any known shark species. Curious, the team activated the drone's camera. What they saw defied explanation. Emerging from the shadows was a colossal shark, at least 40 feet long, with rows of jagged, almost deformed teeth. Its body resembled that of a great white, but its oversized mouth and hollow, black eyes gave it an eerie, prehistoric appearance. The team watched in stunned silence as the beast slowly turned toward the drone, seemingly aware of its presence. Then, in a flash, it lunged, its monstrous jaws opening wider than expected. Before the signal cut out, the last transmitted image showed the shark's twisted, unnatural teeth sinking into the drone. Experts now speculate it could be a mutant species, a survivor from prehistoric times, or something entirely unknown to science. But with the drone lost and no further evidence, this deep-sea nightmare remains a terrifying mystery. Number 9. Ghost jellyfish. In the pitch-black depths of the Pacific Ocean, an underwater drone recorded something unsettling. But what exactly did it capture? At nearly 3,200 feet below the surface, floating in absolute darkness, was a massive jellyfish. Its translucent body shifted and pulsed in ways that seemed unnatural. For about 10 minutes, the drone watched as the mysterious creature drifted through the water. This was Deepsteria, a jellyfish so rare that only a handful of sightings have ever been recorded. But this wasn't just a peaceful deep-sea moment. Something strange happened as the drone got closer. The jellyfish suddenly collapsed in on itself, shrinking and twisting like it had sensed something watching. But that was just the beginning. The drone continued deeper, reaching about 2,900 feet, and what it captured next was even more disturbing. On the ocean floor, surrounded by sponges and corals, a swarm of blood-red crabs was tearing apart a lifeless Deepsteria. Scientists called it a jelly fall, the deep-sea equivalent of a feeding frenzy. Much like how scavengers devour a fallen whale, these creatures were feasting on the remains of one of the ocean's strangest jellyfish. The footage was chilling, a graveyard in the depths where survival means consuming whatever drifts down from above. Food is scarce in the deep sea, and when something dies, it doesn't go to waste. But the real question is, what else falls into the abyss? What other creatures, dead or alive, sink into the darkness unseen by human eyes? Number 8. Jacuzzi of Death. What horrors are crawling in the deepest, darkest corners of our planet? In the Gulf of Mexico, an underwater drone recorded something so chilling, so beyond explanation, that it sent shockwaves through the scientific community. A place where survival is impossible, where the water itself becomes a silent executioner, trapping anything that dares to enter. In 2014, a remotely operated vehicle descended into the abyss, scanning the ocean floor for new discoveries. But what it found was beyond comprehension. An eerie, glowing pool hidden beneath the sea. At first glance, it looked almost peaceful, shimmering in the darkness like a portal to another world. But this was no ordinary body of water. This was a death trap. As the drone's camera zoomed in, a terrifying sight unfolded. Crabs and fish frozen in time, their lifeless bodies eerily preserved, scattered across the edges of the pool. Scientists call this horrifying phenomenon the Jacuzzi of Despair, a brine pool stretching 100 feet across and 12 feet deep, saturated with lethal salt and toxic gases. What happens to anything that enters it? It never comes back. But what makes this underwater graveyard so deadly? The ocean floor beneath this region holds thick layers of ancient salt. Over thousands of years, seawater has seeped through, dissolving the salt and forming pools of brine so dense that they remain separate from the surrounding ocean. The water inside these pools is so toxic, so oxygen-deprived, that anything that enters is instantly suffocated. No fish can escape, no life can survive. This is nature's own execution chamber, hidden in the deep. And yet, something is thriving on the very edges of this underwater nightmare. Mussels and tube worms cling to life, feeding off bacteria that somehow survive in the poisonous brine. If life can exist here, in the most extreme conditions on Earth, What else could be lurking in the uncharted depths of our oceans? This discovery shook scientists to their core. Some believe places like this hold clues about extraterrestrial life. If organisms can withstand such extreme environments here, could something similar exist beneath the frozen waters of Jupiter's moon Europa? Number 7. Dragonfish. A monstrous creature has emerged from the depths, unlike anything scientists expected. But what made this discovery so disturbing? This wasn't just an ordinary crustacean. It was something far more disturbing, a massive armored creature creeping along the seafloor. Its beady eyes barely reflected the light. Its unnerving size set it apart from anything scientists had recorded before. Over a foot long and weighing more than 2 pounds, its ghostly pale body looked eerily similar to something familiar yet completely out of place. And then they noticed its head. It looked almost man-made, almost designed, something unnatural about its shape. And then it hit them, Darth Vader. The researchers named it Bathynomus vateri, not just because of its size but because its helmet-like head was hauntingly similar to one of the most infamous villains in history. Sea bugs like this one are distant relatives of pill bugs, the tiny gray creatures you see rolling up in gardens. But in the deep, pitch-black waters of the ocean, these creatures don't just survive, they mutate into giants. This phenomenon, called deep-sea gigantism, causes marine life to grow to monstrous sizes in the crushing depths. And this one is a supergiant, a category reserved for the most massive, dominant creatures of their kind. But this isn't just some harmless bottom dweller. It's a scavenger, a predator of the dead. These creatures feast on carcasses, picking apart the remains of anything unfortunate enough to sink into their domain. How long have they been feasting on the unknown? And if this monstrous sea bug was creeping undiscovered for so long, what else is down there waiting to be found? The terrifying part? This thing wasn't found through deep-sea exploration. It wasn't some classified government discovery. It was sitting in plain sight. Vietnamese fishermen had been catching and selling these creatures without realizing they were handling an unidentified species. Number 6. Macropina. A hunter unlike any other. It blends into its surroundings with a head you can see straight through. How does it remain undetected? What was discovered in the pitch-black depths of the Pacific Ocean left scientists stunned. A fish, but not like anything seen before. Its appearance and abilities defied expectations, revealing a creature that seemed almost unreal. This was Macropina microstoma, also known as the barreleye fish, a species so rare and bizarre that it was once thought to be a myth. But this wasn't just some deep-sea mystery, it was something terrifying. For decades, scientists believed this fish had fixed, unblinking eyes staring lifelessly upward. But when the drone got close, something disturbing happened. Its eyes moved. The footage revealed something no one expected. The fish wasn't just drifting, it was watching. Its glowing green eyes rotated inside its transparent skull, scanning the drone, tracking its every movement. Researchers were amazed to learn that the fish's tubular eyes are highly specialized, allowing it to detect faint traces of bioluminescence from prey in the darkness. The transparent dome over its head protects its sensitive eyes from the stinging cells of jellyfish, which it often navigates through with incredible precision. This adaptation also allows the barreleye to remain motionless for long periods, conserving energy in the nutrient-scarce deep sea. Its ability to rotate its eyes gives it a nearly 360-degree field of vision, making it one of the most efficient hunters in its environment. The discovery of this fish has raised questions about what other strange adaptations might exist in the unexplored depths of the ocean. The fish wasn't just drifting, it was watching. Its glowing green eyes rotated inside its transparent skull, scanning the drone, tracking its every movement. What else had this creature been silently observing in the depths? But that wasn't even the most unsettling part. This wasn't just some harmless fish, it was a predator. But what made it so uniquely deadly? Suspended in total darkness, it waits completely still until it locks onto its prey. Then, in a swift, precise motion, it strikes. Scientists believe it hunts in the shadows of deadly jellyfish, slipping between their venomous tentacles, its fluid-filled head acting as a shield. Number 5. Ice Finger of Death. A silent grip emerges from the frozen expanse, but what is behind its unyielding hold? Everything that comes too close is captured without escape. In the freezing waters of the Arctic Ocean, something eerie unfolded, a twisting column of ice stretching downward like an icy finger, growing, expanding, and freezing everything it touches with no chance of escape. This terrifying phenomenon is known as a brinacle, or as some call it, the finger of death. It forms when super cold, salty water, left behind as seawater freezes, sinks rapidly into the ocean, creating a deadly ice tube that moves like a slow-motion tornado. Anything unfortunate enough to be in its path, starfish, sea urchins, anemones, stands no chance. The ice spreads over them in seconds, trapping them in an icy grave. No way to escape, no second chances. How does a silent force of ice spread through the ocean, trapping everything in its path. Scientists had long been aware of brinicles, but it wasn't until 2011 that footage finally revealed their terrifying formation. The chilling scene exposed an unstoppable river of ice creeping along the ocean floor and freezing everything it touched. Viewers described it as something straight out of a horror movie, an eerie, otherworldly force invading the ocean's depths. And the scariest part? Brinicles can grow up to 6 meters in just one day. Some reach the seafloor, where their icy tendrils keep spreading, freezing anything that dares to move. Even the toughest deep-sea creatures, those that have survived extreme temperatures and crushing pressure, can't outrun this slow, creeping death. Number 4. Ancient Pyramid. Lying in the shadows of the ocean floor, a massive structure raises more questions than answers. Could it be a remnant of something long forgotten? At first, it looked like nothing more than an underwater rock formation, until the footage revealed something disturbing. Sharp edges, stair-like terraces, and a structure that looked like it had been carved with precision. But if this was man-made, who built it? And why was it buried beneath the sea? The Yonaguni Monument, resting off the coast of Japan, is unlike anything else beneath the ocean. Measuring 150 meters long and towering 27 meters high, its eerie, unnatural angles make it look more like the ruins of an ancient city than a natural rock formation. When divers first laid eyes on it in 1986, they knew something wasn't right. The structure had flat platforms, sharp 90-degree corners, and what looked like a massive staircase leading into the unknown. But the biggest question remains, was this shaped by nature? Or is it the last trace of a civilization that was wiped off the face of the earth? Marine geologist Professor Masaaki Kimura is convinced this is no ordinary rock formation. After years of study, he claims to have identified a road, castle-like structures, and even carvings that resemble animals, signs of intelligent design. If this truly was an ancient city, its people vanished without a trace, leaving behind only mysteries. What disaster struck so violently that it swallowed an entire civilization, leaving nothing behind but stone and silence? Some scientists argue that the monument was formed naturally by ocean currents. But what if they're wrong? This could be proof of a lost chapter in human history, one that was never meant to be uncovered. As more footage emerges, the mystery only deepens. Something is down there, something ancient, something forgotten. And if a lost civilization really does rest beneath the waves, what else could be waiting in the depths, hidden just beyond our reach? Number 3. Sarcastic fringehead. The ocean is full of mysteries, but what makes some more unsettling than others? Certain discoveries challenge everything we know. An underwater drone sent to explore the dark depths of the Pacific Ocean captured something so bizarre, so unnatural, that even seasoned experts were left speechless. At first, everything seemed calm, just another stretch of ocean floor, undisturbed and silent. But then, out of nowhere, something lunged from the shadows. A creature, small but terrifyingly aggressive, emerged from its rocky hiding place. Its body was unremarkable at first, blending into the seafloor like any other bottom dweller. But then, in a split second, it changed. Its head split open, revealing a monstrous, gaping maw. Something so grotesque it looked more like a horror movie creature than anything that should exist in the real world. So what exactly is this thing, and why does it look like something straight out of a nightmare? It's called the Sarcastic fringehead, a name that sounds almost humorous until you see what it can do. At only about 12 inches long, it doesn't seem all that intimidating at first glance. But this fish isn't about size. It's about strategy, survival, and sheer intimidation. When threatened, it doesn't just defend itself, it transforms. Its mouth, normally hidden, expands into a monstrous, alien-like shape, stretching impossibly wide. Vibrant, almost glowing colors flash from inside its gaping jaws, lined with needle-like teeth. It's as if this creature was designed to strike fear into anything that dares to get too close. But here's where things get even stranger. When two fringeheads encounter each other, they don't just fight like normal fish. They engage in an all-out horror show. The drone's footage captured this moment in chilling detail. Two fringeheads hiding in their rocky shelters suddenly launching forward, locking their oversized mouths together in an aggressive battle for dominance. It's not just a fight, it's a terrifying ritual. They press their horrifying, stretched-out jaws against each other, pushing back and forth in an attempt to prove who's stronger. The loser doesn't just walk away with a few scrapes. It's forced to retreat, exposed and left vulnerable to predators. In the deep sea, losing a fight doesn't just mean losing territory. It could mean losing your life. Number 2. Zombie worms. What kind of creature melts bones and thrives in total darkness? In the freezing, pitch-black waters of the ocean, scientists discovered something that defies explanation. A swarm of strange worms devouring the skeleton of a massive whale. Known as zombie worms, these bizarre creatures don't eat flesh or scavenge like typical deep-sea predators. Instead, they dissolve bones with acid, breaking them down to extract fat and protein trapped inside. But here's where things get even stranger. They have no mouth, no stomach, and rely on bacteria inside their bodies to process the nutrients. How they absorb this food remains a mystery. These creatures don't just target whales. They latch onto any bones they find. Fish, shipwreck remains, even cow bones dumped into the ocean. Using root-like structures, they drill into the skeleton and spread across it like something out of a nightmare. And if that wasn't unsettling enough, only female worms do the feeding. The males? They're microscopic and live inside the females, sometimes over 100 in just one worm. This bizarre adaptation allows them to reproduce without ever needing to search for a mate. Once fertilized, their eggs drift through the ocean, waiting to settle on another carcass, ready to start the cycle all over again. The creatures like this are thriving in the depths. What else is waiting to be found? The ocean is full of secrets, some of which may be far more terrifying than anyone ever expected. Number 1. Thonis-Heracleion. What happens when an entire city vanishes without a trace? A thriving civilization, once filled with life and activity, suddenly disappeared, swallowed by the sea, leaving behind only eerie ruins beneath the waves. An underwater drone sent to explore the depths captured something so shocking that it left experts speechless. What it found wasn't just a lost city, it was a graveyard frozen in time. Beneath the dark waters of the Mediterranean, the remains of Thonis-Heracleion were uncovered. Once a powerful Egyptian port, this city stood at the mouth of the Nile, bustling with trade, temples, and towering statues. But then, without warning, it was gone. For centuries, it was nothing more than a whisper in ancient texts, a legend that many believed was pure myth. No ruins, no evidence, just stories of a place that had been wiped off the map. But when the drone's camera swept across the ocean floor, the truth was finally revealed. Colossal statues lay shattered, temples half buried in the sand, streets eerily preserved as if frozen in the moment of destruction. What force was powerful enough to consume an entire city, burying it under the sea for thousands of years? Some believe it was a natural disaster, while others suspect something far more unexpected. Scientists now believe a catastrophic event took place at some point in the 2nd century BC. Disaster struck. The ground beneath the city liquefied, collapsing everything into the ocean. Was it a powerful earthquake? A monstrous flood? Whatever it was, no one had time to escape. The city was swallowed whole, leaving only remnants of a once great civilization scattered across the seabed. Thanks for watching. If this discovery gave you chills, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more mind-blowing mysteries. What do you think this ancient structure represents? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and I'll see you in the next video, because the truth is always deeper than it appears.